I think I might have figured out where the September 20th date comes from for 3760 on the Hebrew calendar. It's actually going by the Julian calendar, which makes sense because the Julian existed and not the Gregorian at the time the Hebrew calendar existed. So they'd be using the Julian. So I'm going to see how many days in between. But I did the math on that in my head. And I was like, that's more than 13 days. Yeah, between October 7th, 3761, and between, how would you do this? 37. Well, I try it both ways. Between, wait. Yeah, between September 20th, 3760, and October 7th, 3761 BCE. That's important. So we take that number and we put it into the Concordia offset. It didn't save my, because the pattern ran off and it didn't save the terminal command I was using. So we gotta run this. Alright. It's been roughly one solar year minus about 17 days. Wait. Maybe that wasn't the right question to ask. Let's do. That makes sense. We do it from April 14th, 2030. Then we plug this date into the Concordia. Well, first I'll show you some updates I made on the software. We'll switch over to that after this is done. Alright, so we're going to use. Let me write this down. 2,114,231. Now we're going to switch to terminal over here. I'll show you some updates I made with this. Now you can use any format you want, pretty much, for the Gregorian. So I'm gonna do 4/14/2030. Okay, that's right. Now we're gonna go So we get September 19th, or September 20th, depending on how you look at that. That'd be correct. 3760 BCE, and October 19th, 3760 BCE. But that doesn't say October 19th. So there's a... How many days is that from 13 minus 19? There'd be 7 days. So there's a week off. But it also doesn't say 3761 BCE. Let's do... between October 7th, 3761 and April 14th, 2030. So I don't know the date because I can't go that far back with this calculator. So I can't type 3760 BCE. I mean, I could add it, but so now we get 2,114 days. Wait, 2,114,578 days. So let's add that in and see what we get. We would do Gregorian and we do 0414-2030. Then we go negative that. So it's October 7th, 3761, November 6th, 3761. What's interesting about that is that November 6th remember in 2030, that's one of the prime numbers that we get. Oh, but wait. What is one Sheshvan? That should be the new year right there. So it started. Wait. You know what? It's using the Gregorian dates. That's the problem. Because it's supposed to be October 7th on the Julian. But because this is using the Gregorian, it's not going to align with the Julian. But that date does show up on November 6th. I'm curious on a November 6th date. Well, in April it would align. That would be one of the dates that it uses. If we were using the Julian in 2030, November 6th appears on the Google. So that's kind of an epoch date. There's April 14th, July 16th, July 26th, November 6th, and let me think. It's April 26th. April 14th. November 6th. Should have this written down somewhere. Is it January 1st? I don't think it's January 1st. It could be January 1st. Let's actually, we didn't even need to do the set. We could have just did the offset because it automatically does the offset for us. Still, I have to wrap my head around it sometimes. So if you minus 103 days, then yeah, we get January 1st. So we're gonna skip that. Then we're gonna go to, and then we're gonna do 103, July 26, and then we're gonna do 0 again. Then we're gonna add a new offset for 206 days. That might sound weird to you that 103-day offset is the same offset day as 206 offset days. See that? Notice that? It's the same day. It's because they're mirrored. 103 and 206 are the same thing. So they're mirrored. That's why you get 2 seasons. You get 2 winters, 2 springs, 2 summers, and 2 autumns. Or 2 falls. So that's why the math is like that. It's interesting. So we do 412. And that would get us May 31st, 2031. Now to do this, you would have to include an offset. So when you have 412, you would have to do 206 minus 206. And then you get November 6th. That's how you do the offsets for Concordia. Because it mirrors and then it adds. So you're going to have to include an offset to get in between the 2 dates. It's the only calendar that does that. So we get October 24th. Did October 24th show up in any of these dates right here? No, they have not. But yeah, it aligns up November 6th, 3,000 years, or technically at that point it'd be 6,000 to 5,000 years, or it could be 6, because you have to count the year 0, or year 1. You have to start in the 1st century on both sides. So is that 5 years, or is that 5,000 years, or is that 6,000 years? What is it? I do not know. Maybe it's 3,000. No, I don't think it's 3,000. How many years between 2030 and 3760 BCE? I know you can't see this right now. Because there's no year 0. Yeah, 2,029 years. That would be 5,000 years total. So yeah, it's 5,788 years total. Yeah. Yeah, I figured it was either 5,000 or 6,000. I couldn't remember. Because yeah, I was adding them together and I would get 5,000. Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So what have we haven't been able to figure out September 20th and October 7th being the same year. I think you would have to use an offset. You would definitely have to use an offset of days to do that. I just don't know which ones you do. But we'll figure this out. We're going to switch to... Actually, we don't even have to use Safari for this. We could just use ChatGPT. So let's switch back over to that. $37.60 and October 7th, $37.61. See, the problem is, the duty offset for that, you would have to first go into September 20th of 37.61, which I can't. You would have to find that number first, and then you have to find the offset between 37.61 and 37.60, and then you have to do that math as the day offset. That's how you would do that. It's September to see if they're the same day, and they should align with the same number. October 7th. That's kind of advanced. That's more advanced than I know how to do mentally, so I won't be able to do it here. But Judge of Two will be able to figure that out. Same day. Julian BCE, the same day as the Gregorian for 3760. No, I'm going around here. I'm trying to get it precise. Why did I put Gregorian? I meant for BCE. It's September 20th, 3760 BCE, and October 7th, 3761 Julian BCE, the same day. Well, Gregorian would make sense because we included the Julian. We don't want it to assume that we're using the Julian calendar with the Gregorian date. Yeah, Rosh Hashanah is on September 20th in the year 1 on October 7th, so it should be. Let me go and read this. When that Julian date is converted to proleptic Gregorian calendar, that's BCE, which didn't exist yet but can be projected backwards, it becomes September 20th, 3760 BCE. Alright, so it's a year. Yeah, you would have to do a day offset for that. October 7th, 3761 Julian, September 20th equals September 20th, 3760 BCE on the Gregorian. They represent the same astronomical day, just expressed in different calendar systems. So yeah, that's how I was getting September 20th. Yeah, because Rosh Hashanah has to be in September, which gave it away that it would be September 20th to me. Yes, those dates are effectively the same moment in time. So yeah. So what I was saying was the first was the Hebrew calendar Epoch September 20th. 3760. It said no because it was using the Julian calendar and I was using a Gregorian date. So yeah, that's why it said that it was October 7th. So yeah, in history we have October 7th, which is the day that the Ukraine that they did not. No, that was October 7th for us. That was October 7th for the Gregorian calendar. But it was not New Year's Day in 2023. In 2023 was not New Year's Day for the war to start in Israel. But it was aligned to the epoch on the Julian. If you're using the Julian calendar on the Gregorian day, that would have been October 7th. But because they didn't use the Gregorian day, we didn't know that, because no one uses the Julian Gregorian calendars, right? So when the war started on the Gregorian date of October 7th of the Israel war, when that started, we were using Gregorian, not the Julian, so it wouldn't be the anniversary. And then you would also have to do the alignment of Rosh Hashanah. So none of the calendars aligned that year, but because we're using the Julian, we know who was behind the Israel war. And it wasn't Iran. Well, it was kind of Iran, but it wasn't. Iran was just a proxy for that. It was actually Russia who was behind October 7th. And also, I know that because Putin was born on October 7th. So October 7th is a significant day. As far as September 20th goes, that's when Ukraine flies its plane, Maria, and that's when the rapture starts. and we already talked about that. So it's interesting how these dates line up. We already have those covered. And on September 20th, on the Gregorian calendar, is Rosh Hashanah on that year. So very interesting. So I'm up front, and Russia is doing things in the back end that people do not see and do not catch. So interesting how all that goes together. I'm much more up front, as you can see here. What is the month? I'm interested. What is Sheshvan? Sheshvan is what makes that significant? What? Sheshvan has a unique and sort of significance because it appears to be the only month in the Julian Jewish calendar without any major festivals or fasts. Now, it's interesting when I say Hebrew and Jewish. When you say the Hebrew calendar and Hebrew months, you're referring to a non-religious state, your non-religious calendar. But when you say with Sheshvan and you're associating it with religious significance, then it becomes the Jewish calendar. It's the same calendar they use, but you call it the Jewish calendar if you're referring to religious. That's an interesting thing about the Hebrew calendar, by the way. Or the Jewish calendar, depending on how you look at it. Yet that emptiness is what gives it depth. Unlike other Hebrew months, which has Passover, don't know how to pronounce that. Sukkot. No holiday or fast. It has no holiday or fasts. Yom Kippur. I'm reading out a line here, which have Passover, the word I cannot pronounce, Yom Kippur, etc. It has no holiday or fast. Sheshvan is blank. It has no designated celebration. The absence gives it the nickname Mar Shafan, where Mar in Hebrew means bitter. It's bitter because it lacks joy in festivals. The month of rain and renewal. After the high holy days, Tishray's intense spiritual side, Sheshvan marks his return to ordinary life. This sounds like May to me. Is this May? Is it May that we're talking about here? It sounds like May. This is how we would associate May with. It's also when the prayers for rain begin in Israel. Spiritual sustenance and repentance and renewal. Some interpret the bitterness becomes transforms in a water drop, also more in linking it to the rains of blessing that begin during this time. That sounds like it happens at April. No, wait, it's March. It's March. Yeah, that also makes sense because of the word more. I was like, rain begin. So you would enter spring after the rain comes. So yeah, I meant to say March, not May. The month of rain and renewal would be March. May is the summer, so there would be no rain. April showers bring May flowers, is what they say. After the harvest of spiritual work done in Tishrei. But then that sounds like April, because there's no holiday now. Cleansing. The great flood in Mabel in the book of Genesis began in Sheshvan according to Jewish chronology. So that aligns with November 6th, 2030 and October 24th, 2030 in the Julian. Water is Sheshvan, therefore symbolizes both judgment and rebirth. Gregorian calendar church farm usually falls around late October to mid-November. The Hebrew calendar is lunar solar, so the exact alignment shifts slightly each year, but it never comes close to March. That's around 8 on the sun spring months. But what you're saying, early rain season, when you say rain in the Gregorian, that sounds like March. And then the spring comes, and then the flowers grow, and it's... Although if you're in in the west of the United States, October, November are like the rainiest months on the Gregorian. Unless, is it always like that? Like, I'm from Texas, and the hardest rains come in the summer. Even if there's not a hurricane, or tropical storm, the rains come in the summer. So I guess kind of lines, kind of. Seeing the reference connects just from to March. It's like you're using a different epoch as symbolic mapping. No, I'm just thinking of the patterns of the rain cycles. Well, the rain cycles match to November, but I also know the idiom. March showers bring May flowers. April showers bring May flowers. That's what I'm thinking about in Korea time. So yeah, I guess it is. I mean, it says here it's November and October, but it sounds like March when you consider the things I said. But anyways, I forget what I was even talking about before. But yeah, all of this goes together. September 20th is October 7th. And so those are the same days. So we confirmed all that. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys all of that. So yeah, this is what I was reading earlier. October 7th. Rosh Hashanah converted. Yeah. So they're the same day. Just 1 year off. Alright, so I ended here. I thought I was going crazy because like I said, I knew that September 20th was showing up on the Epoch day of the Hebrew calendar, and then when I was actually doing the calculations, it said everything was saying I was wrong, and it was October 7th, and I was like, I don't understand. So yeah, now that all comes together. So I see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. I just wanted to add this tidbit to the last part of that. So I figured out how to do it. You do quarterly offset. You do 2,114,231. 2,114,578 days. Actually, you would subtract that. Put that in, and we get October 7th, 3761. Now, if you put in 347, which is the number it gave us before ChatGPT gave us, the differences between the two, when we add that, now we get September 19th, which would be September 20th, 3760. So that's how we got that date, because you subtract 17 days from it. So that's how they align. So, oh, wait. I didn't have my terminal on. So yeah, this is how you did it. First, you subtract this number to get this day, October 7th, 3761. and that becomes the first calendar day for the Hebrew calendar. Then you add 347, which is what GPT told us, as the offset for Concordia. Then you get September 19th, 3760, which is 23 Tishrei, how you pronounce that. And it gets added to this day. So that's how you get the days, and that aligns to what it says here. So yeah, that's how you do the offset and get really precise on the days. So that all checks out. And September 19th will be September 20th with 1 day offset. So yeah. So I'll end it here, and thank you for watching.